Salwete, welcome to Beginner's Latin Lesson 6. In this lesson, we'll continue to look at irregular verbs. You'll remember that in Lesson 5, we considered the irregular verbs sum, I am, and possum, I am able. In this lesson, we'll be looking at 3 more irregular verbs. Volo, I want, Nolo, I do not want, and malo, I prefer. First, volo. It can mean either I want or I wish. Look at the principal parts of volo. Volo, I want, I wish, I am willing. Vele, the present infinitive of the verb, meaning to want or to wish. And volui, the perfect active, I wanted. Note that volo has no fourth principal part. This is because the verb is not used in the passive. Typically, the verb volo is used with an infinitive to express the subject's desire to perform a certain action. Look at these 2 examples we have below. Nos cum Claudio in vis ambulare volumus. We want to walk in the street with Claudius. Recall cum, meaning with, takes a noun in the ablative. Vis is an ablative plural of the first declension noun via. In vis means in the streets. If we had the plural accusative in vias, that would change the meaning to into the streets. In this construction, ambulare is a verb that completes the meaning of the main verb volumus, we want. What they want to do is to walk. It acts as a complementary infinitive. In the second example, nautai ad patrias suas navigare volut, we have a similar construction. However, this time the complementary infinitive is navigare. Now let's conjugate volo in the present tense. Volo, I want, vis, you want, singular. Vult, he, she, it wants. Volumus, we want. Vultis, you plural want. Volunt, they want. Now for the second irregular verb of the lesson, Nolo. This means I am unwilling, I do not wish, I do not want. It is the negation of volo and a contraction of non volo. Let's conjugate nolo in the present tense. Nolo, I do not want, I am not willing. Non vis, you singular do not want. Non vult, he, she, it does not want. Nolumus, we do not want. Non vultis, you plural do not want. Nolunt, they do not want. Note that the second person singular, the third person singular, and the second person plural conjugations are not contractions. For all contracted forms, the first vowel is the same long O that is in non. For vis, vult, and vultis, it is I, you, and you respectively. Also see that there's a similar pattern for possum, I am able, which we covered in the previous lesson. Look at the second person singular, third person singular, and second person plural conjugations of possum. We have a pot prefix as opposed to a pos prefix. Also notice that these 3 forms have an E following the prefix, whereas the consonant S follows the prefix pos in the other 3 forms, possum, possumus, and possunt. Just something that might help you remember them later on. Lastly, we have malo. Marlo is a false friend. It does not derive from malus, which means bad or evil, but is rather a contraction of magis and volo. Magis is an adverb which means more greatly, or rather. So malo means I prefer, I want something more. Let's conjugate the verb. Malo, I prefer. Mawis, you singular prefer. Mawult, he, she, it prefers. Malumus, we prefer. Mawultis, you plural prefer. Malunt, they prefer. To end this lesson, we have looked at 3 more irregular verbs. Volo and 2 of its compound verbs, malo and nolo. We've also learned about complementary infinitives. These are infinitives which form a pair with verbs such as volo and nolo and complete the meaning of the verb. The conjugated verb takes the infinitive as an object. Some examples in English would be, I want to write a letter, or I would prefer to go for a walk. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you found it informative.